For years, the Iranian regime has called for the destruction of the State of Israel, planning and advancing concrete military plans to do so. Over the past few months, intelligence has shown that Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. This morning, the IDF began preemptive and precise strikes, targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the Iranian regime's ability to build a nuclear bomb in the immediate time frame. We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world. This operation is for our right to exist here, for our future and for our children's future. The State of Israel has the right and the obligation to operate in order to protect its people and will continue to do so. The IDF conducted significant preparations for this operation. We are well prepared both in defense and offense to defend ourselves. The IDF will continue to defend the State of Israel.
Let us face, without panic, the reality of our times. The fact that atom bombs may someday be dropped on our cities.
Duck and cover. This is
radioactive fallout conditions which might confront us after a massive attack. Within an hour, fallout would be a serious problem in the vicinity of explosions which occur on or near the ground. By 7 hours after the attack, the fallout area covers more and more of the country as the prevailing winds expand the fallout in a downwind pattern. 24 hours, 48 hours. Without shelter, millions would face death.
all.
Emergency alert system capabilities. This test message has been initiated by National Alert and Warning Authorities in coordination with emergency alert systems, including cable, satellite, and wireline participants in your area. Had this been an actual emergency, the attention signal you just heard would have been followed by emergency information, news, or instructions. This is only a test. We now return you to regular programming.
The fuck? You have to find creative strategies to do this because the corporate, if you look at the major media, there's a handful of individuals and corporations that control all of them, all of it. And that becomes a problem.
They're fighting our enemies. I'd rather have Iranians up there fighting in Tikrit and dying than American kids there. And the reason Iraq is in the camp now very much of
So you
Iran
don't have any problem with the seal of Barack Hussein Obama ultimately being on an Iranian nuclear weapon with their history of being a state sponsor of terror, fighting proxy wars, threatening Israel to annihilate them and the United States. You have no problem with that.
Listen to the American head of intelligence. He says Iran does not have a bomb program as of 2013. Secondly, if they start building a bomb, we will know it. Third, Iran has made some concessions that are not enough that makes them less able to get to a bomb.
Go back to 2012, and we found out they were far more advanced in their nuclear production and program than we ever thought possible. That's what that's what Obama's own government said.
Your friend Bibi's been talking about Iran getting a bomb since 1992. In 2006, he said they'll be building 25 bombs by the end of the decade.
Patrick Buchanan, you don't have any concerns at all about sitting down. By the way, and there's a big difference between the Cold War and the Russians that had nuclear weapons and America paving the way for them to get nuclear weapons, considering, I would argue, that before any negotiations take place, Pat, I'm not against negotiations, but first you have to change your behavior. Stop being a state sponsor of terror. Stop fighting proxy wars. Stop funding groups like Hezbollah and other groups. How's that?
Sean, in Syria, in Iraq, okay, the Iranians and their allies, Hezbollah, the Shiite militia, who are a dreadful bunch, Assad, are fighting ISIS. They are fighting Al-Qaeda. The Houthi rebels in Yemen are fighting ISIS and
how
Al-Qaeda.
Ironic that we're serving as their air force in those instances, in large part.
Who are they killing, Sean? They are killing our enemies. They are killing our enemies.
Mr. Netanyahu, thank you. I just want to ask one last question, and that is, you talked about a network of terror. Are there any other nations that you would recommend that the United States launch preemptive attacks upon at this point?
No, the issue is not. First of all, are there other nations that are developing nuclear weapons? Yes.
Should we launch any other preemptive attacks?
First, let me say what they are, and then just on how to proceed.
Thank you.
The answer is categorically yes. The two nations that are competing with each other, who will be the first to achieve nuclear weapons, is Iraq and Iran. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years. So I guess that doesn't include California, but includes Washington. But what it does, a third nation, by the way, is Libya as well. Libya is, while no one is watching, under the cloak, is trying very rapidly to build an atomic bomb capability. So you have here now three nations. Not surprisingly, all three have been implicated in the past in terrorist activity using the clandestine means of terror and proxies. Now, the question that you ask, I think, is vital. It's important, and that is, what do you do about it? You can fight all of them. You have to dismantle the network. And the question is, do you dismantle all of it at once? No, you didn't. The first thing you did in facing after the wake-up call on September 11th was that you took on the first regime, the obvious regime that had directly perpetrated that catastrophe. You removed the Taliban regime and you scattered Al-Qaeda, although it has not been completely destroyed yet. Now the question is, what's your next step? Knowing that three of these nations are developing nuclear weapons. This is not a hypothesis. It is fact. Iraq, Iran, and Libya are racing to develop nuclear weapons. So now what is the next step? I believe that the next step is to choose. It's not a question of whether you have to take action, but what kind of action and against whom. I think of the three, Saddam is probably in many ways a linchpin, because it is possible to take out this regime with military action, and the reverberations of what happens with the collapse of Saddam's regime could very well create an implosion in a neighbor regime like Iran, for the simple reason that Iran has, I don't want to say a middle class, but it has a very large population that that might bring down the regime just as it brought down the Shah's regime. So I think that the choice of going after Iraq is like removing a brick that holds a lot of other bricks and might cause this structure to crumble. It is not guaranteed. The assumption of regime removal in Iraq, an implosion in Iran, an implosion in Libya is an assumption. It is not guaranteed. But if I had to choose, should there be military action first against Iraq or first against Iran, I would choose exactly what the president has chosen, to go after Iraq.
Who would you choose second?
I would wait and see what the effects are. And I think that the effects could be quite mighty and startling. This region, the political culture in this region is not one, and in these society is not one of respecting force. It is worshiping force and the determination and resolution of the United States in applying it. I think that this could have beneficial effects that might preclude the application of further military action. I'm not saying that you should disavow it from the start, but I'm saying that the more resolutely and quickly you act now, the more victories you gain up front, the more victories you might end up gaining later without the need to apply such overt military power.
What message do you have for the rest of the world?
Well, first of all, I want the world to know that we do not hate any people. We welcome everybody over here, if it was American, French, German, Russian, Chinese, whatever it was. So everyone is welcome in Iran. And the second thing, I want all the world to know that Iran is very safe over here. You can visit Iran very easily, and you will not feel that you're a stranger here. You are very welcomed, and I hope you can see you in Iran.
The Iranians are about to get their asses kicked, and it's been coming since Jimmy Carter. They've slaughtered Arabs. They've slaughtered their own people. They think this is Joe Biden's administration, that they would get away with getting nuclear weapons, and then the world would sit there.
You go fight Iran. You go form an army and fight Iran. You go to Israel and fight Hamas. We are American people. It's not our problem. And you're not going to convince us otherwise. We're done. Israel has been convincing us that their issues and their enemies in the Middle East are ours since the 80s. And all it's done is cost us trillions of dollars and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of American lives. We are done. The deception is over. The game is over. And you're not going to insult us because we're done playing. You're not going to insult us because we're done with Israel's wars and done with you controlling the right-wing geopolitical discourse. We're done, and we're not going to be insulted. You've gone too far. Israel's time running our foreign policy is over.
Wouldn't know what to do about it. You talk about ballistic missiles. Israel sees thousands of ballistic missiles. It can't defend against 10,000 ballistic missiles. It's not going to sit there and take it. This Iranian regime is a terrorist Islamist regime. It's an illegitimate regime. It came to power through the point of a gun, and it expects to stay in power with nuclear weapons. Thank God we have Donald Trump as president of the United States. Thank God Israel has Benjamin Netanyahu as the prime minister. And I will say this. If this Islamic terrorist regime touches one hair on the head of an American citizen, they're going to wish they hadn't.
You think, with all your diplomatic bullshit, that you can appease Islamic fascists who are as nuts as Hitler.